Hello, third hour economics. It is James, and I'm back here with the news on the 2008 housing market crash. So, the United States housing bubble was a real estate bubble affecting over half of the U.S. The housing prices peaked in early 2006 and started to decline in 2006 and 2007. And that eventually ended up in a crash in 2008. But then it even kept going and reached a really low point in 2012. But back to 2008, on December 30th, 2008, the home price index reported its largest drop in history. The Dow J dropped about 777 points. You could have a house that's worth 100,000, and if the market of, say it's 2008, the market decided to drop 50% just on a downcline. So now your house is only worth 50,000. Pictured back here is a map of the United States. And this is the Market Trends Explorer by research.realtor.com/market-trends /. So then, out throughout here, the blues is the median list price. That's going down 40%. But as you can see, the oranges and the reds are heavily more populated, which is up and going up closer to 40%. And we can check out our state here. So let's go to Michigan. So now in Michigan, as you can see, the metropolitan Detroit area is up on the uprise in 40%-ish area. But then like some parts like the thumb, the tip, up in the upper peninsula, it's dropping a little bit. But otherwise, everything else is looking really good. So let's talk about how the market, or things that affected the market that made it crash. So there was low doc loans, there was adjustable rate mortgages, the equity line of credit, more money down needed, mortgage insurance. And so let's start from low doc loans. The rise of the self-employed after the recession in the later 1990s helped fueled the borrowers qualifying for low doc loans. So that means people who don't have money could easily get a loan to buy stuff. So then as the market tightened, providing little to no documentation of income to obtain a loan all but went away. So, I mean, you could just go and say, hey, I need a loan, but your credit could be on the absolute low, and then you'll never pay it back, which kind of ruins the market. And then adjustable rate mortgages, there was more than $750 billion of option, which they were originated in the U.S. from 2004 to 2008. According to the Inside Mortgage Finance of Bethesda, that's not going away, as many home buyers see the benefit of them in terms of initial lower rates and low monthly payments for their loans. So they're paying low, but eventually they raise and they can't afford to pay them back anymore, which then causes a whole lot of problems. So let's go to equity line of credit. As median home values rose rapidly throughout the nation in the early 2000s, many homeowners use their homes as ATMs to withdraw equity to build decks or remodel kitchens or buy a fancy car or go on a luxury vacation or tend to medical bills or other debt. But once the values started to shrink, homeowners couldn't pay off their secondhand loans. Not even if they put their houses on the market, they wouldn't be able to get enough to pay off their loans, which just drives them into poverty and the market just way, way down. The homes were appraising at less than what was owed on them. So many lenders began to reduce the amount of credit that could be extended or did away with the programs altogether so they can at least try and keep the market somewhat stable to balance out and get these loans and stuff paid off. So then what happened was number 4 out of 5 reasons. So after all the line of credit and stuff, you ended up having to do more money down. So there was somewhat of a security on the loans. So the FHA-backed loans can only require 3.5% down. That's up from the 3% required in the boom years, which was in the early... What was the boom years? The baby boom. Wasn't that the 1900s, right? FHA-backed loans can only require 3.5% down. That is up from the 3% required in the baby boom years, which was from like 1940s to the 1960s. But that's still a very low minimum and now has increased to 10% down from borrowers with a credit score of 580 or lower. Finding a lender willing to lend money to someone with a score below 640 is already an uphill battle to get the money paid off and actually come out with profit or stuff that will actually make it worth time to invest in. Also, mortgage insurance, which is number 5. It used to be that homeowners could put 20% down on an FHA-backed mortgage and avoid paying mortgage insurance, which they could just go spend their money on other things. Or if over time the borrower reached 20% equity in the home, the mortgage insurance could be canceled. So they would have no insurance to pay on their mortgage. So eventually, just by spending their money on other things, it just built up and eventually kind of just helped avoid it all. But with the rate of default on loans, FHA compelled to change the rules. So when they changed the rules, everything went back to normal. So, I mean, it's all a mess, but let's go talk to some people. Hey, sir, do you mind if I interview you for a video?
No.
So I was wondering, how does the 2008 housing market crash affect your life?
That's a funny question right there because, I'm homeless, as you can see.
Well, what caused you to be homeless?
The 2008 market crash.
So, what's the backstory? Like, how old were you and what all happened?
Well, I was about 8 years old. I had it all. I had a wife and kids, and I was maintaining it really well. Food on the table, everything. Then the housing market crash hit, and I couldn't even afford steak dinner. We moved all the way down to mac and cheese. And then, no, come bring that mic back. It got worse. I lost my house. I've been sleeping under this towel for a long time.
Well, what kind of house did you have? Was it like a Playmate, or was it big and grand, or was it one of those?
It may have been a trailer, but it was a house. Okay.
But was it you said you were 8. What kind of house? Was it one of those Playmate mansions,
I don't know, dude. Just let me go back to sleep. It was a hard time, okay? I'm still recovering.
All right.